Hello, dear friends. I would love to be friends with an eco-village, but what has hurt me most now is the death of the Spanish writer Sánchez Dragó, and I am not talking about politics, but about literature. Opinion piece: Ecovillages, Neo-ruralism, Children of the Rainbow, Global Call, Transition Communities, Non-hierarchical egalitarianism, The sun will rise again, New way of living together, We are one family, Back to the land movement, Life in harmony with nature, Experiments of the new society, In search of free and peaceful environments, Writer Fernando Sánchez Dragó dies, BRICS surpasses G7 in economic influence. India and China account for half of the global growth. Let's start. When Mother Earth is sick and the animals are disappearing, then a tribe will come with people from all cultures, who will believe in deeds and not words, and help restore the ancient beauty of the earth. They will be known as the Rainbow Warriors, according to Hopi prophecy. The Rainbow Warriors are a spiritual movement that promotes connection with nature, creativity and self-expression as tools for achieving spiritual awareness and compassion for others. They also promote creativity and self-expression through art, music and dance. This difficult time saw the birth of a new nation of multicolored beings, the seeds of the four directions mingled to create the first children of the rainbow. It is written in time and in the memory of the indigenous peoples that the sun will rise again, that we will be able to restore our culture, the art, science, mathematics and spirituality, says Humboldt Mem, her keeper of the Mayan tradition. It was said that the spirit of the indigenous people would find refuge through the unification of different races, but only a part of the races represented would become aware that we are one and the same family. So, whatever the racial origin, the Rainbow Warriors will bring great changes and transformations in the way we live in harmony with creation and with all humankind, says Cherokee Heyoeka Merrifield. Convocation. Just as in 1967 the flower children were called to the Summer of Love in San Francisco with flowers on their heads, so now the children of light are being called to migrate to the countryside and found eco-villages. The Aquarian Age brings us into concrete action to manifest our dreams, and it is likely that each of you has your own life project. Any new way of living together is experimental until we see how it works, because it runs the risk of becoming a sect. We know the details of the old society very well, but we do not know the details of the new one. But what is clear is that children should be brought up in contact with nature and not with concrete, heavy traffic and the metaverse. Since we migrated to the city, we have lost the knowledge of our ancestors to survive in nature, but we can get it back if we put our minds to it. In the 60s and 70s, political, philosophical or spiritual groups created different communities with the aim of returning to the countryside and living a communal life based on self-management and close to nature. These communities were motivated by social crisis, environmental degradation, economic inequality, food security and loss of biodiversity. Since then, these small groups have undergone a period of expansion around the world, which gained momentum in the 90s. Neo-ruralism is a phenomenon of migration from urban to rural areas, which began in the 60s in Western Europe and North America, in the wake of the countercultural and May '68 movements. This emigration doesn't have an economic causes, but rather the search for free, peaceful, less polluted environments with a certain quality of landscape. In the 80s, another rural return began, this time with the conviction that life in the countryside was better than in the city. Improved communications, teleworking, and the advance of new technologies have improved the quality of life in the rural world. Permaculture. Permaculture is a nature-based design that seeks to create sustainable and autonomous systems. The term comes from the combination of the words permanent agriculture and permanent culture. Permaculture focuses on creating systems that are resilient and regenerative using principles and techniques that mimic natural processes. It is a holistic approach that addresses agriculture, architecture, energy, economics, education, health, and community. Some of its principles include observing and interacting with nature, using renewable and local resources, diversifying and integrating systems, reducing waste and creating self-sufficient systems. It includes techniques such as synergistic farming, raised bed cultivation, animal husbandry in integrated systems, rainwater harvesting, use of renewable energy, and sustainable building construction. These three basic principles of permaculture are care for the earth, care for humans and their provision of resources, and a fair sharing of goods where each person should not have more than he or she needs before they reinvesting the surplus. Movement. In 1992, the Earth Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro, where the need to promote sustainable communities was highlighted as a shift towards environmentally feasible lifestyle. However, it was not until 1994 that the concept of Ecovillages was officially extended with international recognition. This year saw the creation of the Global Ecovillage Network, which laid the foundations of the movement and now connects thousands of projects across 5 continents. The following year, 1995, the first global conference on ecovillages and sustainable communities took place in Findhorn, Scotland, attended by hundreds of people representing 40 countries. The Findhorn community was founded in 1965, is considered one of the oldest ecovillages, and is home to over 500 people of varying ages from all over the world. An ecovillage is a small-scale community that pursues social, ecological, and economic sustainability through participatory processes, plural. Its principles are based on respect for nature, the use of renewable energies, food and economic sustainability, recycling, and the use of ecological building materials based on bioconstruction. Rainbow family. A clear example of the rehabilitation of abandoned villages is the village of Matavenero, located in a valley in the municipality of Torre del Bierzo in the province of León. It had been uninhabited since the 60s due to problems with the water supply and the harsh winters. The place was repopulated in 1989 by a hippie tribe made up of human beings from different countries of the Rainbow Family movement. The community transformed Matavenero into an internationally recognized ecological village. The Rainbow Family is a group of people committed to values of non-violence and non-hierarchical egalitarianism. The rainbow represents the colorful union of humankind, races, and religions in a circle of light and peace. All the children of Mother Nature form one big family and therefore call each other brothers and sisters. Since its founding in 1972 in the USA, the Rainbow Family has held annual gatherings the first week of July each year, and all are welcome to attend to share the experience of communal living in an essential environment and in communion with nature. The gatherings are held during a lunar month from new moon to full moon, 28 days, with a special focus on the day of the full moon, in which attendees engage in various activities focused on world peace. Reset news. According to Saint-Germain, the necessary changes are already being implemented in Europe, with the partial disintegration of the European Union, and every sovereign and independent nation will be able to enjoy the benefits of GSR. Canada, Russia, India and China will have similar changes. They are still working in many small countries of the world divided by wars. No currency changes can be made in these countries until there is a stable government. Bad governments are being replaced. The changes will vary from country to country, depending on the local situation. But soon there will be a greater flow of money from a variety of sources. Puffner said, "Just know that plans are still on the way to make funds available to the many who helped carry the burden. We understand that you knew from the beginning that it would not be an easy task, but none of you who were in this situation thought it would be more than 20 years before closure, but it won't be much longer than that. Do not forget that you all agreed that when the money came to you, you would benefit humankind with it and help to uplift your soulmates. Take care and be vigilant. The games being played at this time undermine and mislead. Be a listener, not a speaker. Know that you are discussing before you open up." Real Raw News has reported that there is an internal war going on within the FBI because Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has reportedly learned that there are 500 undercover agents inside the agency who are collaborating with the White Hats. The current head of the FBI has set up a team of 75 agents to detect the infiltrators. Breaking news. BRICS surpasses G7 in economic influence. India and China will account for half of global growth by 2023, IMF predicts. Plummeting chip prices are a serious warning for the global economy. The World Bank warns of the danger of trade protectionism with high inflation. Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio threatens Macron to leave Europe to deal with the Ukrainian conflict alone. Italy wants to remove Anglicisms from everyday life. Negotiations in Yemen to try to end 8 years of war. Spain. Valencia tests a 4-day week for a month. Fernando Sánchez Dragó died of a heart attack on Monday, 10th April, at the age of 86, at his home in Castilfrío de la Sierra, Soria, leaving behind an extensive literary legacy with more than 40 books published and 100 countries visited, Oriental philosophy and the search for eternal youth. I have known him personally since the 70s in Madrid during my university days, and I traveled to India after reading his books. The last thing he said was that we are ruled by the rebel. In quotes, Nano the cat says good morning to me. He knows that in the head is the secret of almost everything. He wrote on social media on Monday. The walls of my life are solitude and silence, he said. May he rest in peace. Americas. A border crossing between Mexico and the US is closed due to protests. Cotopaxi volcano emits a column of gases and ash 1,100 meters high in Ecuador. Petroecuador suffers heavy losses due to conflict with indigenous communities. The government of Argentina makes official the special exchange rate for soybean exporters. Chilean authorities arrest 2 suspects in the murder of a policeman. Venezuela announces 55 arrests in corruption cases in public companies. The Venezuelan armed forces destroyed the 13th plane so far in 2023. At least 185 journalists have left Nicaragua for safety since 2018. curious. Studies show that even moderate alcohol consumption harms health. A way of self-cleaning the atmosphere is discovered. A strong electrical field at the surface between water droplets in the air and the surrounding air can create hydroxyl radicals. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.